All right, we're live. So welcome everyone. I think it's good to start now. People had like extra 5 minutes to join in. So today we are going to talk about the rewards and staking. So we had another AMA some time ago in 22, and Bruce, you had a pre-AMA last week, I think, and this is the official final AMA on rewards and staking, or maybe not the final, but at least the second. So we'll go in and hopefully give you some insights in how we are working with the staking and rewards. And maybe you already know that we have the stakings that has been computed for Q1 and Q2, the 6 months after the GGE is in GitLab. So we'll get back to that. All right. So I will start out with the, this is the agenda. So I'll first reintroduce what are we doing with rewards, and then talk about this from the individual nodes perspective. What is the incentive performance? What are we doing here, and how are we implementing the rewards? And then where do you find the numbers? If you want to have a look, you have basically all the numbers, so you can do your own computation test if everything has been done correctly. And then we'll have Bruce coming in and presenting what we call browser version 2, or a new sort of browser that is used for community staking. So community staking is that marketplace where you can simply do the delegated staking when you're a node operator, or if you're not a node operator, or anyone with a token can go in there and they can delegate the MPC tokens to node operators. So that's what it's all about, and I'll get back to this and we'll present the browser at the end of this. So what this is all about is that we have an ecosystem, we have a network here, and we have carved out 20% of the total supply of tokens, MPC tokens, to bootstrap the network. Half of these 20%, 10%, is carved out to bootstrap the node operators, or yes, exactly what we're talking about here, operation of the network. We have sorted the pre-mainnet, which is everything before 31st of May 22, and now we're talking about mainnet, everything after 31st of May 22. So let's jump into this. The important thing here is that this is about bootstrapping. So in the long run, it's all about the BYOC economy, which means the fee economy. So the payment that comes from all the users of the network whenever they run transactions on the network, whenever they run zero knowledge computation or use the bridges, use all the functionalities of the network. There is a fee captured, and they are distributed according to the payment schemes built into the system. So that's going to be the main income for the node operators. Here we're talking about the bootstrapping of the network, the MPC tokens that is on top of this. And we will see that more of these is paid out in the beginning of the network, and less when we move further down the road. So mainnet rewards, that's what this is all about. All right, so the overall objective is really about this bootstrapping the on-chain activities. So we have that on one side, it's about attracting and growing the ecosystem, which is all about the node operators. It's about developers coming in. It's about the users of the network, about all of the stakeholders. On the other side, we have all the activities, all the on-chain utilities, which come from the operations, the functionalities that is built into the network. So basic transactions that is run by all the Baker nodes. We have the zero knowledge, the private computation by the CK nodes, and the bridges by the Oracle nodes, and so on. And then we have this, what we are talking about here, the functionality of doing delegated staking, that you can put your MPC tokens to work with the node operators. And the community staking is really how to do that. You can call that the marketplace, even though we are not setting any prices, but we do allocate tokens to node operators. So the principle for how we are doing this is as follows. It's all about a long run scheme. It's a 10-year allocation scheme. It's all about having some predictable numbers per period, and then having a competition around how to incentivize people to run nodes efficiently and getting rewards for doing that. So that's basically the short what is on this slide. It's all about that rewarding you. The more you stake, the more rewards you get. And if less total numbers of stakes is delegated to nodes, there are more rewards to share. So if people move out of delegated staking, there are more for those that are in delegated staking. And then there is the adjustment for the actual node performance. So we want that we get an efficient network, because that's what is generating the common value of the entire network, the more efficient the individual nodes are. So if you don't incentivize that, we will end up with a network that is may slowly die out. So that's an important part of calculation of the rewards. All right, so the first step is to take these 100 million tokens, delegate them into the different quarters over a 10-year period. We had some allocated for pre-mainnet, then we have the rest in mainnet across these 40 quarters. So here we have the numbers, and you can see that it's a growing number, and then it drops after some time. So this is sort of capturing a preferences in terms of time, that we are giving more rewards in the beginning of the period, where you have fewer nodes and less unlocked tokens. And then when you have more and more unlocked tokens, there's more and more stakes. But on the other hand, as time goes, there's also a drop in the number of reward tokens. The idea behind this is that in the long run, we will have a lot of activities. So this is all about the bootstrapping of the network. That's why it has this funny shape, the allocation of the tokens. So what is important here is that this is fixed. So you can go in here, click on this link. You will see the numbers, so you know exactly what is allocated per quarter. And then you can go in, delegate, stake, and take part in basically the competition around getting some of these rewards. All right, so that's completely the same as what we talked about on the first AMA. So now we look at more detail. So we'll look at this from the user's perspective, and then we'll look at how we are implementing the mainnet rewards. So a lot of data involved in this. For a start, let's have a look at a token account. So a token account, it could contain all of this that we have on this picture here. You could have your own tokens that is locked or unlocked. You can have it delegated to your own account, so you own a node account, or you can have tokens delegated from other token holders to your account. You can have other delegating to your account even though you're not a node operator. So it's also a way for you to get tokens that then give you the power to sign up as a node and become a node operator. And then you have these delegated tokens. So delegated token is what you can put to work in jobs if you are a node operator. And you can be Baker, CK nodes, and Oracle nodes. So you put them to work in real jobs. In these real jobs, they are operated as stakes. So you cannot retract tokens that is in use in actual jobs. But whatever is left, or the difference between delegated tokens and tokens in jobs, that can be retracted. And it's just one pool of tokens that can be retracted. Most likely there will be tokens available for you to retract. Or if there's not, you'll have to wait for these jobs to end. So that's how it works. And in terms of transferability, you have that you delegate tokens. So here we look at the difference between the number of unlocked and the delegated token. So if there is a difference, if the delegated token is less than unlocked, then there are free transferable tokens. Right now, there's none of these tokens that is transferable since we are not listed, but that's how it's going to be. that this difference is the free to transfer. All right, this is an almost complete picture of what happens with your token account, although it does not include all of these pending states, like pending unlock. So you could have tokens that is unlocked, but they are pending. So you have to click on that button that unlock the tokens. Or you could delegated pending delegated token. You can have pending retracting token. You can pending staked token, and the last one comes in many variants, since there are many different jobs and so on. All right, so with that picture of what a generic account looks like, we can have a look at two different types. So, and the ecosystem or the supply chain maybe. So you can have new token holders coming in. You can have a token holder that is not running any node, and then you have a node operator account that has received delegated tokens from other token holders, and who also run jobs and delegate tokens directly into jobs. And here we have the jobs, the Baker job, the CK, and the Oracle jobs. So that's sort of picture how this works. So here we have the token holder that do not have run a node, that delegate to node operators, and we will look at that and the market for how to do this. And we have the free transferable tokens that could be sold to new token holders that get an account and get tokens and can participate in this ecosystem. So this is a picture of some of the dynamics between the different types of accounts that are running nodes or not running nodes or buy tokens, etc. So we are talking about rewardable MPC tokens. So rewardable MPC tokens it's actually easier to see if you just look at these two examples here, two different scenarios. So in this case, we have a token holder which has 60% unlocked tokens, and I don't know how many tokens they have delegated, but the rewardable token is exactly 60% of whatever this person has delegated to his node. First scenario here, we also have that there are free transferable tokens, since the number of delegated tokens is less than the number of unlocked tokens. In the other example, there's no free tradable tokens, since the number of delegated tokens exceed the unlocked tokens. And this account has 70% unlocked. So the rewardable token in this case is 70% of the delegated tokens. So that's what we mean by rewardable tokens. I'll repeat this in a minute when we look at how we compute the rewards. So here we have the rewards explained. And what it's really all about is that if you think back at the allocation of the 100 million tokens across the 40 different quarters and the pre-mainnet, we have an X, which is a number that for a given quarter is going to be allocated to the token holders. And now we need to find out how are we distributing this X across the different token holders. So that's what is on this slide, sort of spelled out. So we have token holder 1 that can allocate the tokens to all of the node operators. I don't know, we have around 100 node operators, so you can allocate it to each of these node operators. And then you compute for each of the allocation to a given node operator, you compute the rewardable tokens. So the rewardable tokens was, as on the previous slide, that was the percentage of unlocked tokens times the tokens that is delegated to this node operator. And then you adjust this for the node performance. I'll get back to how we are working with node performance, but we adjust every one of these nodes delegated tokens for the node performance. So that's why this become a little bit complicated, I guess, because you have to look at all of the node operators for all of the token holders. So you can see it's really a big matrix that is being folded out here. But anyway, here you can have that. Then you can take the sum of all of the tokens delegated to the nodes by token holder 1, adjusted for the unlocked token, adjusted for the different nodes performance. And then you have the rewardable token adjusted for node performance for token holder 1 in this case. Then you can do exactly the same for token holder 2. 2 is allocating something to node operator 1 or maybe 0, who knows? But we have to run through all of these node operators for all of the token holders, and we get these and we adjust it as before for the unlocked percentage and for the node performance, and we get the sum of this. And then we can sum all of the rewardable tokens adjusted for node performance from all of the token holders, and that is the total sum of rewardable tokens. So with these numbers, we're now ready to compute the rewards. So it was all about how to distribute that X. And now we have the X up here. So we have X times token holder I. It could be token holder 1. Token holder 1's rewardable token adjusted for node performance. So what is that? If it's token holder 1, it's this number over here. And then we divide that by the sum of all rewardable token adjusted for node performance, which is this number down here. And then we do that for all of the token holders, and we get these rewards for each of the token holders. You can go back and look at these slides and see if you can, if that makes sense. Otherwise, give us a shout out and we'll try to explain this. So we talked about adjusting for node performance. So the way that we are measuring node performance is to look at the actual blocks produced by the individual nodes. So this is the job as a baker node. So we are running 4 different shards in the net. We have the governance shard, we have shards 0, 1, and 2. So that's 4 shards altogether. We sum all of these blocks produced by all of the block producers. Then we compute how many blocks has each of these producers created in 1 month. And then we use these numbers, the number of blocks produced by a node operator in a given month. We use these numbers to compute the efficiency of a given node, what we call the node performance score. And we make this relative to all of the nodes. So we take the number of blocks produced by a given node operator, divide that with the best practice, which is the max of the number of blocks produced across all of the block producers. So since everyone become a node operators, they will have, and they will produce precisely 100 blocks, it's actually more, approximately 100 blocks per every time they are selected. We'll have that they will at least to become a block producers 15 times during a month. And that might vary a lot because, if a lot of activities, it's an eager block production system. So if you have a lot of activities, you produce like tons of blocks every second. And if there's no activities, you have this more like the heartbeat blocks that is coming in. But even though there's no activity, there will be at least 15 times per month for each node. So that should be a fair measure of the performance of the individual nodes. So that's what we're using, and we use that to adjust for each of the nodes. So when you get back to this allocation of the delegating the tokens to each of the nodes, you can look at these performance scores. They're now available and for 7 months. And if you see some that you think, okay, they keep producing low numbers relative to others, and maybe that's not where you should delegate your tokens. So that again is an incentive to empower those that create most common value for the network. Common value for the network is all about having an efficient network where every node operator is responsive and produce blocks and create that common good, which is running this decentralized network. All right, so there is reasoning behind this. We have new node operators coming in, so they might come in at any time during a given month. So in order to treat new node operators fair, we separate the incumbents, the existing node operators, and the new node operators. So the existing node operators are measured as we just talked about on the previous slide. For the new node operators, they are basically getting the average score of the incumbents in a given month. So you can see here, in this case, in November 22, this is the actual number. We have these new node operators that is all giving this score of 89%. All right, so now I'll talk about how we are implementing the rewards. So there's some time involved in this. We have that the rewards is actually allocated every week. We have that the node performance is measured monthly. We have that the rewards are distributed quarterly. So you can start the other way around, that we start at the bottom here. We allocate in this quarter 500,000 tokens. There are 13 weeks in this quarter. That's not in all quarters. So I mean, you look at what you use to define whether a week belongs to a quarter is the Sunday, whether that Sunday belongs to that quarter, and then it counts as a week. So that gives us 13 weeks, and in this case up here we have these 38,000 tokens per week, and those are the tokens that is delegated according to the scheme that we just went through. And the node performance, it was computed monthly. On the next slide, we will look at how we are going to change the way we do the node performance, make it more automated. Everything will be automated relatively soon. Actually, we are actually pretty close to having something that is completely automated. So, but I'll get back to this. So we have here that for every week we basically allocate these tokens. Yeah, I will have, there's a link on one of the other slides where you can go and you can have a look at the scripts that is used to capture the on-chain data and to compute these numbers and the rewards at the end of the day. But the important thing here is to know that it's allocated weekly, node performance monthly, reward distributed quarterly. So remember, there is if you want to retract your delegated token, there is a delay of 7 days, 1 week. And that's why we have 1 week. So we establish this discrete time in weeks, which makes it possible for us to allocate token this way weekly. So it's built into the system. All right, with that, I will talk a little bit about how we also will do the node performance, how we also automate the node performance. That is now done manually. We extract all the blocks produced and we compute the numbers in a simple R script and get the scores that way around. We'll soon move into doing this weekly. So at the end of a week, we'll look back at 1 month, defined by probably a number of weeks, or maybe just, we'll have to make some decisions in a number of days, number of weeks back in time. And then you measure the node performance for that month. And then a week after, you look back 1 month and compute the node performance for that period, etc. And then we'll have a new node performance every week for each of the nodes. All right, so that's basically how it's going to be implemented. There is also a built-in cap for 5 million tokens. This is how we are implementing this 5 million cap. So why we're doing this is that it's all about creating a strong network. It's about creating a decentralized network. It's about creating this, having competition around creating a common good, which is running the network. So the stronger the nodes are, the better it is. We have some large token holders, and we are incentivizing the large token holders with this cap to delegate tokens to more nodes. If they see that these nodes are performing weekly, they have an incentive to go and assuming that they know exactly how to run an efficient node, there's an incentive for them to facilitate some collaboration and help others becoming as efficient as they are. So the way that we are implementing this is kind of sort of smooth dilution if you exceed 5 million. So below 5 million, there's nothing has changed. It's all as described in the previous slide. If it's above 5 million, we adjust the delegated tokens proportional down to the 5 million. So if there's 6 million, for example, delegated to a token, all of the delegated tokens will be reduced by 5/6. So that will bring us proportional down to 5 million. So that's how we're going to implement the cap and incentivize this decentralization and collaboration among the nodes. The last slide here, I'll give some examples. So this is actually the example from the first AMA that I'll repeat. So here we have a situation. The first scenario is where we have two token holders delegating 200 and 250 to node operator A. So in this case, we have to adjust the, we are not looking at node performance in the first case. And since we only delegate, everyone is delegating to the same node, it wouldn't make any difference anyway. So this is a very, very simple network with two nodes and two token holders. So and we are going to end up with is to allocate 100 tokens to these two token holders. So that represents the number of tokens that we have in a given quarter. So that's 100 in this example. So in this case, we have that token holder 1 is staking 200. So that's 200 up here. And we have that token holder 1 have 50% unlocked. So we adjust for the unlocked, which means that they have 100 rewardable tokens. But they are eligible tokens, but we call it rewardable tokens. So that's 100 of these. For token holder number 2, that is delegating 250 to node operator A, and we are getting to 100 rewardable tokens. That is 40% times the 250 that is delegated. Now we have that, we have the total of rewardable token is 200, so that's the 100 here, plus the 100 over here. That means that we have the 200 here, so that's, we are now distributing the 100 tokens this way. So for token holder 1, that has 100 rewardable tokens, and there's 200 in total, is getting 50. So 50% of the 100 tokens, and the same for the other one, the other token holder. If you look at a different scenario, the animation didn't work. Sorry about that. So it should have illustrated that there is an extra allocation now from token holder 1, which is extra 300 to node B. And we have that token holder 2 is allocating an extra 150 to node B. So now they are all allocating tokens to, delegating tokens to both node operator A and B. So we assume here that they are equally good, the node operators. We'll come back to how we can adjust this. So first we have to adjust for, or find out how many rewardable tokens there are. We know that this is again 50%, so it's half of the 300, 150. Down here it's 40%, so it's 40% of the 150, that's 60. So now we have some extra tokens here, which is the, we have the 200 from before, and we are allocated now 210 extra. So that's altogether, it's 410 rewardable tokens. And token holder 1 has 250% or 250 of these rewardable tokens. So the 100 is distributed with 60 or 61 approximately to token holder 1. And for token holder 2, it's the 160, which is the 100 up here, and it's the 60 down here, which gives 160 divided by the total number of rewardable tokens times the tokens that is going to be allocated among the two. So that's approximately 39. So in this case, the node operators was equally good. But we do adjust for the node performance. So we look at the example from before where they are delegating all of these tokens, 200 and 300, etc. But now we're measuring the performance of node A and node B. So node A is producing 1,000 blocks, node B is producing 2,000 blocks. So best performance among the two is 2,000. So what we get here is that this should have been a 2,000. I mean, it doesn't really change anything because it's the same number. But anyway, what we're doing here is now that you are adjusting the numbers from before with the relative performance of the individual nodes. So that could be for token holder 1. The rewardable token for token holder 1 is adjusted with 1,000 divided by, should have been 2,000 here. And for node operator B, it would be 2,000 divided by 2,000, since B is the best performing node. So that no adjustment, there should have been no adjustment for node operator B. I'm sorry about these numbers, because again, they should have been 2,000. The animation was not there either. So anyway, I hope you can follow this. I'll make sure that you get the slides with the proper animations and with the right numbers here. And we do the same for token holder 2, adjusting the delegated tokens to node operator A and for node operator B. And then at the end of the day, we'll have the a different number of the total sum of rewardable tokens adjusted for the unlock, adjusted for the node performance, and use that as a way to distribute the 100 tokens. Now you can see that one is now getting a bit more. So, and why is one getting a bit more? That's because there is a node operator B is actually better performing node, and one is distributing relatively more to node operator B. So that's why he's getting more. So token holder 1 made a wise choice, or by chance delegated to a node operator that was more efficient in this period. But if efficiency sort of is something that sticks over time, you will see that in the statistics, and you can make a rational decision based on that information. If it's random, and you cannot really adjust for it. With that example, we're ready to look at the numbers. So we have computed all the rewards. You can find it all in GitLab. There's a link down here. So everything is behind this link. You'll get to this page where you can go in, you can click on the definition to MPC token rewards, read a lot about how the different variables are determined in the system, the different types of stages that a token can have. There are all the data that has been downloaded to compute the node performance. So, but you can look at that. There is the performance scores. You can look how they are changing and how your own performance is changing over time. And there's the execution file, the actual allocation of rewards for Q1 and for Q2. There is also numbers for December 23, at least the node performance numbers, which is what I've shown here as an example of the performance of the node operators. With that, you can see here that there's no one that is performing. They're actually performing quite well, all of the nodes. So there's one that's just below 60. Otherwise, they're performing pretty good, all the nodes. So nothing really to be concerned about, and probably a bit random whether they are one of the other nodes is at 100% in this period. That's it's probably going to jump a bit back and forth. But if you are performing down here, your effort might impact that score. So better get that node up and running and make sure that this is running efficiently. We also added the descriptions as part of the documentation. So I think this is really where you should go, and you can dive into all the numbers and see what is behind this. You can look at the scripts that is used to extract the data, used to compute these rewards, etc. All right, Bruce, I think I will hand it to you so you can go through the browser which is the marketplace, the community staking.
So hi guys, my name is Rusan. I'm the head of developer relations here at Partisia Blockchain Foundation. You might have seen the unofficial AMA that I did last Friday to kind of prep for this call here. This section will review just a quick, concise section of the AMA that I did last Friday. So again, we're introducing the new browser. This is basically a version 2 of our staking site, and we're calling it the browser, but right now its main function is to provide staking tool functionality to all of your all the token holders. Now there's one major change that I think it's important for everyone to understand. If you recall, on the previous staking tool, you were only allowed to stake your unvested, basically your unlocked and freed tokens. This is basically changing, where with the new version 2 staking tool, you'll be able to stake all of your tokens, whether they're locked or unlocked. And this is a key item that I think is going to be very important for the token holders out there. As Kurt reviewed in the rewards calculation pages, the more unlocked token that you have, and the percentage of the unlocked tokens that you have in your account to a node, the more rewards you get. So it really behooves everyone to stake as much as you can if you want to maximize rewards for your account. So at the bottom, there's a link to a little bit more of a detailed walkthrough video that I did last Friday. I'll send that out in a separate note, and we'll include that link as a part of the notes when we upload this video as well. Okay, so the first thing that you'll notice is that the UI is very different from the older version that existed in npcexplorer.com. And this is the main page. And this basically talks about your account overview. And in this page, you'll get information about the total number of NPC tokens that you hold, which is the top. And then at the bottom, it tells you the information about how much you've staked. And then at the right, you see information about your unlocked state of your account, right? So on the staking section, it shows you how many you have still available to stake as the unused. It tells you how many staked coins that you have staked. And then it tells you how many are pending. And as Kurt reviewed, all of your unstaking process, whether it's your coin that you stake to your node or you delegate the state, there is a 7-day period. And once the 7-day period passes, it'll go into clear pending, where you'll be able to clear that out of the pending state and then return those tokens back for your use. On the right side, it talks about how many coins you have that you've released as a part of your unvesting process, how many are releasable, and how many still are locked. So you can see that in this account, this person has released 55,000 tokens, and he still has 389,000 tokens still locked. Below that is really specific to node operators. It talks about how many tokens a node operator is currently running their jobs, right? So there's different services that you run. The main basic job is your Baker node, which provides consensus. And then you have the Oracle node, which provides the bridging. And then you have the Zero Knowledge node, which does the MPC computations. And then on the right side of that, it talks about the amount of tokens that you have that is available to allocate to these jobs. The other new section is the node operators page. And this node operators page reviews the node score. We'll call it a score. We can make it something a little bit more user-friendly perhaps. But this just basically talks about what Kurt reviewed earlier in regards to the node's performance for a particular month. Okay, but below there, it talks about, it tells you the address of those nodes and their relative score. And you'll notice that a lot of the scores are fairly high. 99%, mostly 98%, 99, 98, 95%. And again, the highest score for this particular month will always be 1, and all of the other nodes are associated against that score. Now, the first node you'll notice is at 42. Now, this could be a variety of different reasons, and some of them may not be the fault of the node operator's node stability, right? And maybe next month, he'll have a score of 1, perhaps. So for those who are searching for different nodes, it's probably going to be important for you to kind of check this page from time to time. Always go back and see how the nodes that you've allocated to are performing, and decide whether or not you want to continue to stake to this node or perhaps move to a different node. The next slide is section for the community stakers. And this section talks about if you're a community staker, which node you are staking to, and basically talks about how you can do that, right? So the page is called Delegated to Others. Just basically means that you're delegating your coins to others. This activity can be performed both by community stakers as well as node operators that may want to delegate stake to other nodes. We'll go into an example of that in the later slides. But this section talks about how many coins you have already delegated to others, how many are accepted, and how many are in pending acceptance. Please remember that when you stake a coin, the node operator that you stake to must accept them. If you recall, Kurt talked about the 5 million cap, right? That's an example of maybe a node operator not willing or not wanting to accept any additional tokens, because if he does, he may penalize all of the other people that have staked to that node. Right. So there's when you delegate the stake to a node, the node operator needs to accept that. And so the other part that's important is for you to be able to reach out to the community and search for reliable and active node operators. Remember that this is a market of trust. We're trying to create a market of node operators and community stakers to work together and create a market for our ecosystem. And so, for the community stakers, it is recommended that you search out for active and responsive node operators for you to stake to. And on the right side, it talks about how many tokens you still have available to delegate. So if you wish to delegate, you will click on that delegate button, put in the address of the node operator you wish to stake to, put in the amount. One key item is that you do not change the gas fee. It should be set to about 15.6K. Please do not change that because it will risk your tokens being stuck in limbo. And then just delegate to that node that you wish to stake to. The following slide really is about you as a node operator. In this section, it talks about the tokens that people have delegated stake to you. So it talks about the total number of coins that have been delegated from others to your node, how many you have accepted, and how many you still have pending acceptance. And below that, it tells you the different addresses that have delegated stake to you, how many you've accepted, and how many that are in pending acceptance, the total amount, and then a button to either accept those that are in pending or retract. As I mentioned, there may be certain reasons why you want to retract some of these tokens from your account. And again, it's very important for you to build relationships with and create a marketplace again to either retract or to accept tokens depending on one's situation. The last slide really is about how you can be a node operator, right? So there's two parts to this. And the first part is, you have 25K or more tokens to become a Baker node. And in order for you to be a node operator, you will come to this section, node operations, and say, okay, I'm going to stake my 25K of tokens to my own address. I'm going to build my node and then register my node in MPC Explorer currently to become a Baker node, right? If you have more than 25K, then you can use those tokens to register to other jobs, stake more tokens that you own to your own node, and become a zero knowledge node or a Oracle node. So this section talks, it gives you an overview of how much you've staked. So for this particular account, this user has staked 429K that he owns to the node, and then he has accepted 57K tokens from other people, and tells you the total number of tokens that he's staked for jobs. And then on the right side, it tells you more about how many are available that he has currently to stake further. And then again, here shows you the amount of tokens that he still owns, 13,500 that he can stake, as well as additional tokens that are pending from others. So if you want to stake, you would use the stake button to stake to your node. If you want to unstake the tokens, you would click on unstake. And again, below that talks about the different jobs that you're currently running. And the next slide really talks about a separate option. As Kurt mentioned earlier, there is the ability, you as a token holder that may not have 25K or more tokens, to still want to run a node. Maybe it's because you want to receive BYOC rewards. Maybe there's no more nodes for you to stake to because everybody has saturated the network so much that all of the nodes have 5 million. They're not really looking to accept anymore. Or maybe you actually have the technical chops to run a node in a much stable environment than other node operators, and you want to be a node operator, right? But let's say that you don't have enough tokens. So how can you become a node operator without 25K, right? So as Kurt mentioned earlier, the function of delegating to others is not restricted only to you delegating to a node. You can actually delegate to other wallet addresses that are currently not node operators. So for this example, this user has 13,500 tokens. But let's say he has 3 friends that has 10,000 tokens each, and they want to get together and say, hey, you know what? We think that we can do better. We want to build a node and run it. They choose a single person to be the representative, to be that node operator. And then the other people will delegate themselves to that account. And then the user has more than 25K and then can build a node and registers themselves as a node and then operate that way, right? That's one way of doing it. Or the other way is just announce yourself in the marketplace. Say that, hey, listen, I have experience, I have technology experience and I'm looking to run a node. So you can advertise yourself as a potential node runner and have other people delegate stake to you and become a node operator as well. Now, there's one additional caveat to this, and I think some of the node operators that are on the call may have questions about, how do we remove the private key to a particular node? And this delegated staking to a account that is not a node operator is the way to do it. I'll be writing up a documentation on how to do that, but basically what you would do is to create a separate wallet, and then from there you would delegate stake all your tokens to that wallet, and then that wallet becomes a node rather than the actual wallet address that holds all of your tokens. And I'll review a little bit more about that in the later sections. So I want to thank you guys for listening to me ramble on here a little bit. As I said, a little bit more detailed walkthrough video will be posted as a part of when we post this video. Thank you for listening. And if there are any questions, I guess we can take those right now.
Yes. Sure. We can take it from the bottom here. Can private and public sale holders have the option of retract only unlocked tokens? So retract is the function where you bring back delegated tokens. It has nothing to do with whether the tokens are locked or unlocked. This is a function that brings back the delegated tokens back to you. So it goes for both locked and unlocked tokens. The only caveat here is that if the tokens are in actual jobs, they cannot be retracted. but there's a pool of token in that account, and if the pool of tokens that is not in actual job is sufficient for you to retract, you can retract the tokens. Up here, when our delegating tokens, they go into pending state. This is a two-sided market, right? So it's you have you can delegate your tokens, but the node operator have to accept it. Is that understood the question correctly?
Yeah, I think so, Kurt.
Yeah.
And I'll just add that I think, we gave some examples of why a node operator may not want to accept a delegation, right? Because he has 5 million tokens and he doesn't want to perhaps penalize other people that have staked to that node, perhaps. Or maybe he will accept it because he wants to receive more BYOC rewards. It all depends on the node operator.
Okay. What is releasable and unlocking? So releasable and unlocking, that was the from the have all these tokens and then they unlock quarterly, and they are pending unlock. So releasable, they are releasable when they are pending unlock. So we should actually go into the documentation that I linked to make sure that this is the correct understanding.
Yeah, I think that'll be very helpful, right? I think we're working on a terminology documentation that we can attach to perhaps this AMA that will give some answers and descriptions of what each of these terms mean. But at a high level, I think the answer is that, releasable means it's, you can take it from a state where it is currently unlocked, but not transferable, and then turn that into a transferable tokens where you can now transfer it to different addresses.
Yeah, maybe. So we have to look at the definition document. Maybe the term releasable is used for different stage, whether you move out of the staking, and whether it's about the vesting or the unlocking of the tokens. Why is the trust score get released 2 months later? So the whole thing is that we are now working towards a fully automated setup. So as soon as we have the performance scores computed with a script that extract all the blocks from all of the shards and compute that performance score, we will use that and present that in the browser. So that's where we are heading. Right now we're using these monthly performance for all of the weeks in that month. So with that, I think if there's no further question, I will call this off, and we will make sure that you also get the slides with the there was things that need to be corrected there, and you'll have that as well as this video. So thank you for showing up, and have a nice evening.
Thank you, guys.